My mentor, Mr. Schoaf, once told me, your bank account is a reflection of your philosophy, not your circumstances. Most people aren't truly poor. They're just comfortable enough to stay where they are. They have just enough to survive, so they never push themselves to grow. They trade their potential for a paycheck, their dreams for a sense of security. But comfort is the enemy of wealth. The moment you stop stretching, you start settling. And the moment you start settling, you start losing. Here's a simple truth. Money flows to where it's valued. If you manage it well, it will grow. But if you waste it, if you push it away, it will avoid you. Let me give you a secret. My mentor, Mr. Schoaf, said, learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Once I got that, it turned my life around. He said, if you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. You don't wake up one morning suddenly rich unless you win the lottery. And even then, statistics show most lottery winners end up broke. Why? Because they never grew into the kind of person who can handle wealth. Money doesn't change you, it magnifies who you already are. If you have a broke mindset, millions of dollars won't make you rich for long. It'll just be a temporary stop before you return to where your thinking belongs. Wealth is an inside job before it ever becomes an external reality. It's like a tree. You don't plant a seed today and expect a full-grown oak tomorrow. First, the seed must take root beneath the surface, growing long before you ever see results. Your mind is the soil, and your thoughts are the seeds. If you plant the wrong ones, fear, doubt, procrastination, don't be surprised when nothing valuable grows. But if you cultivate thoughts of abundance, discipline, and action, over time, wealth becomes inevitable. Look at the people who are truly wealthy, not just rich, but wealthy in the way they think, act, and live. They didn't just chase money, they became the kind of people who attract money. They developed habits that made them valuable to the marketplace. They mastered skills, built relationships, and took calculated risks. They understood that financial success is a result, not a goal. The goal is to become a person of value. And wealth is simply the reward. Your future is nothing but a reflection of your thoughts. Look at where you are today. It's a direct result of the way you've been thinking up until now. If you're stuck, frustrated, or struggling, the good news is you can change it. But it starts in the mind. Change how you think, and your actions will follow. What you tolerate becomes your reality. If you tolerate average, you'll live an average life. If you accept just getting by, that's exactly what you'll get. But the moment you decide that you refuse to settle, that's when everything starts to shift. People who become wealthy don't just wish for it, they demand more from themselves. They demand discipline. They demand growth. They demand that they rise above their circumstances. And when you demand more, you create more. But here's where most people fail. They never leave their comfort zone. The comfort zone is a silent killer of potential, and it's where dreams go to die. Every breakthrough in wealth comes from stepping into the unknown, taking risks, and embracing discomfort. Growth never happens inside of what's familiar. If you want a different life, you have to be willing to do different things, think in new ways, and challenge yourself daily. The marketplace doesn't pay for effort, it pays for value. Money is a direct reflection of how well you serve others. The most successful people aren't the ones who complain about what they don't have. They're the ones who find ways to solve problems. The world rewards those who create solutions. If you want more money, ask yourself, how can I become more valuable? Because the moment you increase your value, the marketplace will reward you accordingly. And remember this, wealth is not something you find, it's something you grow into. Scarcity is an illusion and abundance is a choice. The world isn't short on opportunities, ideas, or resources. It's only short on people who see them. The same world that creates millionaires also creates people who struggle to make ends meet. The difference isn't in what's available, it's in what people choose to see and believe. If you think opportunities are scarce, you'll act accordingly. You'll hesitate, play small, and let fear dictate your actions. But if you believe the world is abundant, you'll move differently. You'll see doors where others see walls. You'll find solutions where others see dead ends. The world will always reflect the way you think. Take two people, both in the same economy with the same opportunities. One thrives, the other struggles. Why? Because one chooses to see possibilities while the other only sees limitations. The reality is, the economy isn't your master. Your mind is. The most successful people didn't wait for the perfect moment. They created it. They trained themselves to spot opportunities where others saw obstacles. And that's the key. Opportunity doesn't announce itself. It doesn't knock on your door and introduce itself. It whispers to those who are prepared to listen. And here's the truth. You are paid in proportion to the value you create. The marketplace doesn't reward effort. It rewards results. You don't get rich because you work hard. Hard work is important. But plenty of people work hard and struggle financially. Why? Because they haven't connected their effort to value. The key isn't just to work hard. It's to work smart. It's to make sure that what you're doing brings value to others, solves problems, and improves lives. The moment you focus on creating value, money follows. If you don't believe that, just look at the wealthiest people in the world. They didn't get rich by simply putting in hours. They got rich by solving big problems, creating systems, and providing something people were willing to pay for. The more valuable your contribution, the more the marketplace will reward you. So if you want to change your financial future, stop asking, how can I make more money? And start asking, how can I create more value? The answer to that question will determine the size of your income. And understand this, your mind is the only economy that truly matters. Economic downturns don't make people poor. Their responses to them do. In every recession, there are people who lose everything, and there are people who rise to the top. The difference isn't in the circumstances, it's in the thinking. When times get tough, do you shrink back in fear, or do you look for new ways to adapt and grow? Because history proves one thing. There's never been a time without opportunity. Even in the worst of times, fortunes are made. The question is, will you be the one making them? You can't control the global economy, but you can control the economy of your mind. And that's the only one that truly determines your future. Wealth is not just a number in your bank account. It's a state of being, a way of thinking, a mindset that determines how you live, how you make decisions, and ultimately, how much value you create. People often say, I'll think rich when I have money. But that's not how it works. You think rich first, and then money follows. Millionaires don't become rich by accident. They see wealth in their minds long before they see it in their hands. They develop the habits, the discipline, and the mindset that create financial success. It's not about luck. It's about preparation. If you took all the money in the world and distributed it equally among everyone, within a few years it would end up back in the hands of those who understand wealth. Why? Because money multiplies in the hands of the wise and disappears in the hands of the unprepared. Money is like a seed. It needs to be planted, nurtured, and cultivated. The unprepared treat money like a harvest without planting any seeds. They spend without thought, chase instant gratification, and wonder why wealth never stays. But the wise, they understand that money is a tool. They use it to build, to invest, to create value. They make money work for them instead of working for money. Think about lottery winners. Studies show that most of them end up broke within a few years. They got money, but they didn't develop the mindset to keep it. On the other hand, look at self-made millionaires. Many of them failed multiple times before they found success. But once they understood wealth, they never lost it. Why? Because they mastered the principles of money. They learned how to make it, manage it, and multiply it. Money is not the solution. Financial wisdom is. If you don't control your money will control you. And here's the reality. You can't escape the mindset that created your circumstances. If you want a rich future, you need a different way of thinking than a poor past. If you carry the same beliefs, habits, and attitudes about money that kept you struggling, then even if you earn more, you'll find a way to lose it. That's why people get raises, but still live paycheck to paycheck. That's why businesses make millions and still go bankrupt. The problem isn't the income, it's the mindset managing it. The only way to change your financial future is to change how you think. The mind that created struggle cannot create abundance. If you want wealth, start by thinking like someone who already has it. Think long term, think value, think growth. Because when your mind shifts, everything else follows. Opportunity is everywhere, but not everyone sees it. Why? Because opportunity is invisible to the untrained mind. Most people walk past opportunities every single day, but they don't recognize them. They say, "There's no chance for me," while someone else sees the exact same situation and says, "This is my moment." The difference isn't the opportunity, it's the mindset. A person with an untrained mind sees a struggling business and walks away. A person with a trained mind sees a struggling business and asks, "How can I add value and turn this around?" A person with an untrained mind hears about an industry growing fast but hesitates, waiting for someone else to prove it. A person with a trained mind studies it, acts, and gets in early. The world is full of opportunities, but they're only visible to those who are looking for them. If you haven't trained your mind to see beyond obstacles, you'll mistake opportunities for problems. And the biggest obstacle that blinds people to opportunity? Self-doubt. Self-doubt is the greatest tax on your potential. It makes you hesitate when you should act. It makes you settle when you should reach higher. It makes you question yourself when you should be moving forward with confidence. If you don't believe in yourself, you will always undervalue your worth. And when you undervalue yourself, the world follows suit. You've seen it before. Two people with the same skill, the same knowledge, the same experience, one succeeds and the other struggles. Why? Because one knew their worth and the other let self-doubt hold them back. The marketplace doesn't set your value. You do. The world will always test you, but it's up to you to decide whether you rise or shrink under that pressure. And here's something remarkable. When you start believing in yourself, when you start seeing opportunities, when you start training your mind for success, something amazing happens. You start to give. Not because you're forced to, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you understand a simple truth. Generosity attracts prosperity. The more you give with a wealthy mindset, the more you open the door to abundance. The poor-minded person says, "I'll give when I have more." The rich-minded person says, "I give because I already have more than enough." And that attitude creates a cycle. Because when you operate from abundance, you attract abundance. Not just in money, but in relationships, in opportunities, in life itself. Train your mind, believe in your value, and give freely. Because when you do, you'll never run out of opportunities, you'll never run out of confidence, and you'll never run out of wealth. Fear is a powerful force. It can either paralyze you or propel you. And one of the biggest fears that keeps people from success is the fear of losing, the fear of making a mistake, of looking foolish, of stepping out and failing. But let me tell you something. Fear of losing is the greatest enemy of winning. The poor avoid risk because they see it as something to fear. The rich manage risk because they see it as something to understand. That's the difference. The poor say, "What if I lose?" The rich say, "What can I learn?" The poor say, "What if it doesn't work?" The rich say, "How can I make it work?" The moment you shift from avoiding risk to managing it, your whole world changes. Now, I'm not talking about reckless gambling. I'm talking about calculated risk, the kind that every successful person has taken at some point. You see, success is never a straight line. It's not a smooth road. It's filled with twists, turns, setbacks, and unexpected challenges. But you can't win the game if you refuse to play. Think about a child learning to walk. They take a step, they stumble. They take another step, they fall again. But do they stop trying? Do they say, "Maybe walking just isn't for me"? Of course not. They keep going. And eventually, they get it. Now imagine if that child had the mindset of most adults. They'd fall once and say, "This is too risky, I'll just stick to crawling." And that's exactly what most people do with their financial future. They're so afraid of falling that they never take the first step. But let me ask you, if you never take the first step, how will you ever get anywhere? If you never take a risk, how will you ever discover what's possible? And here's the truth. Every wealthy person was once exactly where you are. No one is born rich in their mind. They had fears. They had doubts. They had setbacks. But the difference? They decided to change how they think. Because wealth isn't just about money, it's about mindset. If you think like the poor, you'll stay poor no matter how much money you make. If you think like the rich, you'll create wealth, even if you're starting from nothing. The most powerful shift you can make is deciding that you are in control of your financial future. Let me give you a practical example. A man works a job he doesn't like. Every day, he complains about it. The pay is too low, the hours are too long, and the boss is unfair. But instead of looking for a new opportunity, instead of learning new skills, instead of building something of his own, he stays where he is. Why? Because he's afraid. He tells himself, at least this is secure. At least I know what to expect. Now compare that to someone else in the same job who says, this isn't where I want to be, but I'm going to use it as a stepping stone. I'll save money. I'll take classes. I'll build something on the side. One person is controlled by fear. The other is managing risk. One person is focused on losing. The other is focused on winning. Wealth starts in the mind. The moment you start thinking differently, the moment you stop fearing loss and start seeing opportunity, you put yourself on the path to success. Because the truth is, you don't get rich by avoiding losses. You get rich by learning, adapting, and growing. So ask yourself, what's stopping you? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it comfort? And then ask yourself another question. If I keep thinking this way, where will I be in 5 years? The answer is simple. If you don't change how you think, you'll stay exactly where you are. But the moment you shift your mindset, the moment you start thinking like the wealthy, everything begins to change. Opportunities appear where you once saw obstacles. Growth replaces stagnation. And you realize that wealth isn't just something you earn, it's something you become. Let me leave you with one simple truth. Your life, 5 years from now, will be the result of the decisions you make today. The way you think, the habits you form, and the actions you take. These are the architects of your future. Wealth is not a miracle, it's not luck, it's not something reserved for a select few. It is the result of a mindset, a process, and a commitment to growth. Too many people wait. They wait for the right time. They wait for the right opportunity. They wait until they feel ready. But waiting is the enemy of progress. If you keep waiting, the years will pass and nothing will change. You look back and wonder where the time went. And the hardest pill to swallow, that moment when you realize you could have started 5 years ago. If you want wealth, start thinking rich now. Start seeing yourself as the kind of person who takes action, who learns, who adapts, who creates. Because if you don't see yourself as that person, how can you expect the world? Imagine two people standing at the edge of a river. On the other side is everything they want: wealth, freedom, success. The first person looks at the water and says, what if I fall in? What if the current is too strong? What if I don't make it? The second person looks at the water and says, how can I cross? What tools do I have? What skills can I develop to make it across? One sees obstacles, the other sees possibilities. One hesitates, the other starts building a bridge. The question is, which person will you be? You don't need all the answers to start. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to take the first step. Invest in yourself. Learn new skills. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow. Because let me tell you, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Growth happens when you stretch beyond what's comfortable, when you seek knowledge beyond what you already know. And don't let fear hold you back. Fear will always be there. But fear is just a signal that you're about to grow. The difference between the wealthy and the broke is that the wealthy feel the fear and do it anyway. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone to success. Think about this. What if you started today? What if, instead of doubting, you decided? Instead of hesitating, you committed? Where would you be in a year? In 5 years? The future is not a mystery. It's the sum of the choices you make. So, here's my challenge to you. Take control of your mindset. Start seeing wealth as something you grow into, not something you stumble upon. Make a commitment to act, to learn, to push beyond your fears, because the moment you do, your future will never be the same. And when you get there, when you look back and see how far you've come, you'll realize that the only thing that ever stood between you and success was the belief that you could have it.